On. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Just going to take a minute for everyone to just tune in. Just let me know if you can hear everything. And yeah, we're streaming across a few different platforms, so we've got a lot to dig into tonight. And yeah, just thanks for jumping on. I know your time's valuable, so we'll try and keep everything on point and try and fill you in. If you don't know me, my name's Joseph. I am a musician. Been here on the Gold Coast, done my 10,000 hours, my 1,000 gigs, and played all the venues, and given it a crack at a few different other areas in the music industry. And yeah, me and a friend built VemYou, just as a bit of a background for what VemYou is, and we'll explain VemYou and everything like that. And this topic specifically, however, awesome. Thank you. This topic today is not so much about VemYou, but it's going to be more focused around superannuation. I myself have been trying to tackle into superannuation since it all became a big topic, and just, I guess, try to understand it. And reached out to Josie, and Josie had been making some phone calls to the ATO, and we also wanted to bring a solution as well, mainly for me as a muso, but obviously any solution for me. Awesome, thank you. There's a solution for all of us because we're all musicians, all venues. There's going to be a few venues on here as well. So, yeah, there's quite a lot that we're going to have to get through to understand superannuation, what super actually means for us musicians, also for venues. This whole perspective is in the angle of how we as musicians should handle superannuation, and Josie's going to take care of all of those answers and those sort of solutions, basically from an accountant's perspective. And I'll introduce Josie very soon. I'm not going to drag on and talk too much from my own self, but so Josie's done a lot around this space, specifically with creatives and with musicians, and I'll just get into it pretty straight away. And you can actually scan. I'm going to put some QR codes sort of up around the place that if you want to scan it, you can scan it. And what'll happen is it'll take you to specific sites. One of those sites is going to be super for independent, basically for contractors, but for creatives. That'll come up in the next screen, and you can just scan that QR code right up there, and that's for the VemYou. But when I put the superannuation, you can scan that anytime and it'll take you over to that, so you can actually reference from the ATO. Now, there's two different sites for this. There's the ATO for general ATO, but they've also created a creative ATO site, and I'm going to actually just have that popping up right now. So you can see there's a website down the bottom. You can see right here, Creative Workplaces. This is from the ATO for musicians, and this is something that we've got to understand. So I'm trying to use this moment to be more about clarity and about understanding directly what the ATO says, how it relates to us as musicians, and to venues if you're a venue on here. And at the end of all of this, we're going to have a Q&A where you can ask any question. Hello, everybody. Hello. I can see the Alexis, Natalie, Paul. Yeah. How you guys all going? And look, any questions you have along the way, just leave them there. We're happy to answer them. Josie is also happy to answer them as well. And I guess we'll get straight into it. So superannuation, as you know, is a big topic. People are wondering if we should pay it ourselves or should we absorb the superannuation? Who's responsible for the superannuation? I've been hearing a lot of people that have been talking about superannuation and what it means. Yeah, can you see that link? Can you not see the link, Jess? If you can't, just creativeworkplaces.gov, or have you? Okay, cool. Yeah. .gov.au, contracts and payments, superannuation, even if you just search creative workplaces and just work your way through it. But yeah, so there's a lot of grey area, a lot of grey space for a lot of venues and musicians understanding it. Yeah, cool. I will do that. So the simple terms, and when Josie gets on, she'll explain it in much more simple terms, but superannuation is obviously now become a mandatory situation for us musicians and for venues. I'm going to let Josie explain all of that, but I'm just going to speak from a muso perspective, and then Josie will talk you through all of the accountant perspectives. But the reality is if you're booked to perform, generally falls under ordinary time earnings. I know all of this stuff might not mean much to you, but what it means is that super applies if you're booked to perform at a venue on a regular basis. That means that if you show up at a gig and you're there as a residency, you're considered by ATO as an employee for super purposes. And as I said, I'm just going to check if Josie's there. I think Josie's there. I'll just give her a quick message. But I think she's there. She might be just having a bit of dinner. She just finished work right now. Let me just quickly just check if she's okay with it. But what we want to achieve from this is just a clear understanding around superannuation for musicians, who should pay it, what is super, what's involved, and also who's the responsible and what defines you as a employee for super purposes. So Josie, just a little quick introduction. I'll just bring her on now. I think she's ready. She'll just probably pop up. Let's have a look. Are you ready? Hello, Josie.
Still finishing eating. I'm ready. Hi.
Josie works all day today, and she's taken the liberty to take some time out of her night while she's eating. So, but just a quick introduction for Josie. Josie's obviously been my accountant personally for so many years, I think about 8 or 9 years. And also not only mine, but also works with a lot of musicians around the Gold Coast for over a decade. And not only does the books, but also looks after, a lot of different examples and a lot of different areas of being an accountant in that area. But she also not only looks after musicians and probably a lot of musos on here. Paul has said, hi, Josie.
Hi. I can see the chat now. I couldn't work it out, but now I can see it.
Yeah. And not only does Josie look after musicians, Josie is right now currently the accountant for Mo's Desert Clubhouse, as we all know, a big active venue that's pretty big does a lot in this industry, books a lot of different musicians and a lot of different examples. So we're really lucky to have Josie come on after hours to come and have a chat. And me and Josie have been speaking for the last sort of couple of months around this topic. And I'm just going to shoot you some questions, Josie, that I've got here that we sort of went through. And but did you want to start off with like what exactly superannuation is?
Yeah, super is by law, employers have to pay employees 12. It's gone up to 12% this financial year on top of their wages into a complying super fund for them to be able to access it once they reach retirement age or sometimes before in special circumstances. But generally, that's basically what it is. They have to do it by law, all employers.
All employers. And specifically with who is, I guess, the responsible party for paying super, who would that be?
The employer.
The employers.
Not the employees, the employer, yeah.
Yeah. We had a comment in there was like, let's speak like 5-year-olds. So some things might be like really, really clear. I think it should, so we can make it nice and clear. But
I guess in this case with musicians, what we're talking about here when you're contracting, it would be whoever hires you. So whoever the agreement is with, whether it's directly with VemYou or it's with a booking agent or whoever the agreement is with.
And what determines, what's the threshold that determines if it's an employer for superannuation purposes or if not?
Are you talking if they're a contractor considered an employee for super
exactly
purposes? Or are you in general what threshold?
Yeah, so what I'm trying to ask is if someone's just doing a one-off gig, is that considered an employer, or like how do they determine if it's an employer?
Yeah. Okay. So what you're asking is, in some cases, even though you're a subcontractor and you have an ABN, so we're mainly just talking about sole trader musicians here. So even though you may have an ABN and you're invoicing the venue, let's say it's the venue in this case, What the ATO will look at if you are considered more of an employee is 4 different things. One of them is whether you set your own hours, so you can decide when you choose to play. Whether you set your own rates, whether you bring your own equipment to do the job, how regularly you're playing at that venue, and whether you can subcontract it out to another. So say you can't do the gig, are you then able to go, I've contracted somebody else. There is a 5th one, and that's to do with insurance, but it's more like it doesn't really apply in this circumstance. It's more with a subcontractor, as in hired to produce a specific outcome, say a tradie, and something happens, it's faulty, then that person is liable. If the subcontractor is liable to replace or recoup whatever happened, then it's more of a subcontractor relationship. So I guess with when you're looking at each particular contract, or I don't know if it's a booking agreement, that each particular contract is its own separate case to be looked at. So, and what the ATO advises, because my main thing was most musicians are bringing their own equipment. They can't play the job. They can't perform if they don't have their equipment. 9 times out of 10, musicians will take their own equipment, whether it's guitars or amps or whatever. Even if the venue has, a backline, you're still probably bringing, unless you're just bringing your voice, and that's a different circumstance. But yeah, that was my thing with the ATO, which I wanted them to clarify, because 9 times out of 10, musicians will bring all their own equipment. And what I was told after the second phone call in 2 hours on the phone, that they look at all those circumstances. So not just the one. So even though you may be bringing your guitar, are you playing regularly at the venue? Are they setting the hours that you're to play? And are they setting the rate? Are they telling you the amount that they pay? Like they might just have a fee that a set amount that they pay musicians. Or are you setting your own fees? Can you subcontract, if you get the gig, can you subcontract it to somebody else if you don't, if you end up not being able to perform? So they will look at all those scenarios. So I guess you have to look at each individual performance that you're playing, or contract or booking arrangement, and determine from there. And I would say if you're playing a venue regularly and they're telling you what hours they need you to play, it's more likely an employee. More likely that you'd be considered an employee for super purposes.
Sure. And yeah. And how about agency relations? If you're working with an agency doing multiple gigs with them, as an agent, does the agent become the employer for super purposes if you're not dealing with the venue, or if you're not getting paid from the venue, or getting paid directly from the agent, but the agent's setting out the same tone of the relationship of you've got to be here at this time, you've got to play this songs, and even though let's just say hypothetically for like a wedding agent, you might not play the one wedding, the one-off wedding might look like a private gig. But if you're playing multiple weddings with one agent, is that agent become your employer?
I'd have to have a look again at booking. Does a booking agreement go out from agencies when you accept a job?
It does.
Yeah. Because I would say that the agency would be billing the venue for super and not paying the super out of their own fees. I would say, I would assume. I guess it's new. I'd have to, clarify whether in the end it's the actual person that's booked the musician to play paying the super, not the agency. It's hard
Sure.
to say. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I would assume they would on charge super to the venue. Or
So,
when they
on,
invoice the venue, they're invoicing for super as well.
yeah, which is obviously, yeah, that's it makes sense. That's what they would do. But the big topic that's been going on at the moment is musicians now being told to absorb the superannuation. So can we talk just a little bit around what their compliance is around, like absorbing the actual superannuation? Where what I mean by absorbing it is, say, all of a sudden they ask me to invoice 12% lower, and I end up 12% less in the pocket, but the invoicing the same. So what is that from the ATO's perspective when you spoke
Well,
with them?
in that case, if you've been playing regularly at the same amount, that set amount, the super should be on top of that. So you shouldn't be suddenly accepting less in the hand when you've been gigging for that rate regularly for that agent or that venue. Of course, if it's a new arrangement, it's up to the musician, I would say, to whether they want to accept, whether they choose their rate. So if you're choosing your rate and it's a brand new contract, I guess then you could decide whether you're going to accept what they're putting out. But if it's been a regular job that you've had, no, you wouldn't be accepting 12% less in the hand. Super should be on charge. And you could argue that point with the ATO if you wanted to.
Yeah, and what are some of the
Not argue with the ATO, but show the ATO this is what's happening. And I'm pretty sure the ATO would be in agreement that you shouldn't be. I've seen it actually. They've already clarified that on one of their discussions about it, about this actually.
Sure.
Yeah. Sorry, the dog's getting up on the table.
No, that's okay. We are getting. Well, if anyone has any questions or anything, just keep writing them. Keep sharing
Yeah,
what you.
I can't read them and talk at the same time, but I'm happy to read them after this is finished and answer them.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
sure thing. And of course, one of the areas that we want to get into is what has the ATO said in relation to not getting this right? So, like,
If
if
you're
for
not getting
example,
paid your super,
yeah, if you're absorbing it, if you're doing it, pushing grey areas and not just saying doing exactly what they've said, what is their, I guess, what
well,
would the ATO do
your
about this?
options, I guess, would be to report it to the ATO. That's usually why most super audits happen, is because someone has reported it. So it's not generally, the ATO is getting better at chasing up outstanding super because we have what's called single touch payroll, where each time you process a pay run, it's reported to the ATO like straight away. So they usually have up to date info on everyone on wages. So they're getting better at sort of being notified if super payments are late. It may be from the super fund that's notified them, but a lot of times it's someone that's noticed that their super hasn't hit their super fund and will report it to the ATO. So the risk is on the employer. There's no risk to you as the musician if you're not getting paid your super. There's no risk there. The risk is to the employer. Yeah.
Sure. And how does, like, if someone were to get reported, like, let's say an agent or a venue, and it was to be shown in, that they were obviously making musicians absorb it, what is the penalties for a venue or an agent in that circumstance?
So so what they ask you to do, if they think there's outstanding super, they send out a letter first, and then if you need to demonstrate when you've paid the super and how much you've paid, you have to provide evidence, and it's called how you have to submit is called an SGC statement. So you have to list all your employees on there, what super they were owed and when they were paid it. And then I guess if they were then going into a full audit, they would be getting records, like asking for proof and of that proof of payment. invoices.
Sure. So, and look, I can obviously see the comments is blowing up. I can see a few musos here. Look, I know it's bringing a lot of anxiety for a lot of different people, and there's a lot of different answers coming from various people, which I'm just sitting there seeing. We'll tackle those things very soon. But in regards to your actual superannuation, is it calculated on the overall amount, or is it how do they calculate the actual superannuation if someone
It's
say
it's 12% on top of your wage.
on your wage, and is that
Yeah.
like the whole lot, or is that specifically on labor or performance, or how, like
It's on performance fees. Yeah. So the actual performance.
the actual performance?
Yeah. Actual
Yeah,
performing. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, if you're in, and I don't know if do you invoice your agents,
Yes.
or they do a what's called where they actually create the invoice on your behalf? Do some of them do that?
No. So
No.
if I'm working directly with an agent, I would basically invoice the agent. The agent then takes they get their monies paid out from the venue,
Yeah.
and then they pay us. So if that's an
Okay.
agent relationship, so I would usually do that. And if it's a direct venue, obviously I just directly invoice the venue.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, if I'm working with an agent myself, I wouldn't even have any conversation with the venue at all. I wouldn't
Mm.
know what happens behind closed doors. So yeah, I directly invoice directly to the agent. The
Yeah.
agent then pays me. So I guess in that circumstance, they would pay the super on top of my regular fee.
Yes. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
So if you
yeah,
set your regular fee, the super has to be on top of that. So
right,
12%.
right.
Yeah.
And what are some of the best practices at the moment that you've been hearing around how to handle superannuation, like specifically if you're a musician?
Just lately, the best practices.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for, I think. I don't. Well, it's. I think a lot of people don't even know. A lot of people don't even know that they have to pay super for contractors in some circumstances. So, are you talking about invoicing or?
Yeah, I guess like the invoicing side of things, and I guess just knowing. I mean, I'd assume the best practice is first to speak to your accountant about any situations and look at your contract and your relationship with actual agencies or venues.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the individual. Like, does the individual want to get paid their super? Because there's ways that you can invoice where you can itemize it so that the actual performance part, you can choose what you want that to be, and then you can pop in travel, you could pop in marketing. So the actual super portion will only be on the performance fee. So, but some people might want more of a performance fee and more money to go into their super. They want to start accumulating super. So I think it really comes down to the individual and what they would like. Would they like more money in the hand, or would they like, 12% on top of the whatever they choose their performance fee to go into super?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I guess like I'm seeing the questions pile up, and if you wanted to put down in the comments, anyone out there's listening, would you rather be paid super on your whole amount, or would you rather work as a team with venues and with agents? Like, what is your expectations as a musician that you would want to see? And we might just actually get into some of these questions. Is that okay with you, Josie? Is there
Yeah.
is there anything? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I might just I'm going to start up here. What are the questions? So I can see here. So it would be good to know. Oh, let's start up from the top. Um, so a one-off gig with an agent, with us setting. This is from Natalie. With us setting our own rates, booked for corporate, but we provide our own equipment. But the client gives us a run sheet of what time we play. So would that
Is
Well, I
a
can't
one-off
actually see if
gig,
this
did
is.
she say?
Yeah. Yeah. So a
Yeah, I
one-off
would
gig
say
with an
that'd
agent.
be. So you just got to look at those four. Is it a regular? Are they? So they're setting the time, but it's a one-off gig. They're bringing all their own equipment.
But we provide our own equipment, but the client gives us a run sheet of what time we play.
Yeah. Yeah. So to me, like I don't make. I would be up to the ATO if they, but I would say that's just a one-off gig, and that would qualify as being just a contract, a
Yeah.
subcontractor.
The
They're bringing
agent,
all.
if the agent gives us an amount we earn, are we meant to get super on top? On top of that?
Yeah, I would say so. You'd have to look at what's in the fine print when they're in the booking agreement. Whether that amount they're saying the agent sets the price?
The agent gives us an amount we earn. Are we meant to get super on top? So I guess if the agent gives us an amount we earn, yeah, it's a pretty.
Yeah.
Um,
So when you're approaching a new contract and the agent gives you an amount, you would have to read the fine print and see what that covers. If it's just for performing, then yes, the 12% super should be on top. But as you've sent me some through recently where it's an all-inclusive amount from the agent. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be good to know if the agent. This is from, I think it will be Alexis. It would be good to know if the agent has given us our super on top, or if the agent is skimming off the top. I guess that's
You would have
just
to
more.
clarify it with them. You'd have to really look at your booking agreement, what they state in that, and if it is the amount does include super, so they're saying this is the fee that's inclusive of super, then and it's a new contract that you're entering into, you just really have to decide whether you're happy to accept that, and know that what you'll actually get in the hand would be 12% less because they'll take the super out. So
Sure.
can you set your own fees with your agency, with some and some you don't, or?
Well, I guess this is the push and pull at the moment. On the surface, they obviously say you can set your own fees, but it's whether or not it's up to them to accept that if they want to. People say you should just add the 12% on top of your fee.
Yes.
This is a big conversation. But then we've heard of a lot of musicians. I know of a lot of musicians who have said that and lost gigs, and they've said, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, right.
So I guess that's the push and pull at the moment between venues and agents and musicians.
Yeah,
It's
I
going to be
say
a
if
lot of
you've
push
had
and pull.
a long-standing relationship with your agency, and then all of a sudden they're making it super inclusive and taking out 12%, then I think you have a leg to stand on to say it should be on top of what has been your set fee, whether you're setting that or the agency.
Someone said here, some agents are deducting from our fee, some are adding on, some are saying they're not liable for super, but we
Yeah,
do the same jobs for all bookings. I guess this is one of the topics here.
yeah. Like a lot of people are not aware about this super issue. Yeah,
No, and that's the thing. Someone also said if we suspect this is happening, so we would report our agent if we suspect it. So I guess that's you would report your agent.
yeah. I guess. I mean, that's the course of action if you want to want to continue working with him, like you said. And you want super on top of what your set fee was, you could approach them first. I think generally most people would approach their agency first and say, look, that's not correct, or not happy with this.
Yeah.
And then if you continued working for them and they started taking their 12% out, then you can take it further.
Yeah. And I guess another big question here is it's all in the contract, isn't it, Josie? So
Each individual contract is its own scenario to be looked at. There's no one blanket rule in this case. That's why it's such a grey area with the ATO. There's no one. They have those 4 specific guidelines to go by. But when it comes down to it, the ATO would look at each individual job, each individual booking agreement.
And so you should be looking at your contract relationship with your agency, and if you don't have one, you should put one in place, I guess, and negotiate your
what you're happy with,
your
what you're
terms,
happy
what you're
to
happy with.
accept. Yeah, what you're happy to accept as your performance fee, what you want in the hand. And if they're saying it's incorporated and you're going to lose the 12% in hand, it's up to you whether you want to agree to that or not. Yeah, this is all new contracts entered into. I'm not talking about long-standing existing ones. Yeah.
Sure. And someone here says from Jesse, thanks Joseph and Josie. Personally, I tried to get super a couple of years ago from venues and it was really difficult. They have a set wage that they generally pay artists, and then when you ask, obviously, they pull out. They pull out on you.
Yeah. They don't book you.
Yeah.
Is that what's happening?
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess that's the push and pull of what's going to happen. And
yeah, look, I think they're not going to be able to. The more and more this gets talked about and discussed, then I think hopefully that will lessen. You know, the more we do things like this and the more musicians approach their agent or the venue. Yeah.
So there's something that's come up here around the itemization, and I guess what I want to ask you just quickly before we get into that, we spoke recently and you did obviously get some confirmation on a few things. One of the confirmations is they look at the whole relationship, not just one part. They're looking at all of those 4 situations of, you know, like you said, they don't just look that you bought your own equipment. They look at, did you buy your own equipment? But also, did you choose your own hours, etc.
Yeah.
And
did you choose your own hours is a big one when to work? And do you, how regularly are you performing at that venue?
Yeah, exactly. So they look at the overall. So that's confirmed from the ATO. The second one is that you did ask them about the itemization of invoicing. You know, if you were to itemize your invoice and lower your performance fee, that would effectively drop the superannuation obligation because it should be on your actual labor, not on the overall fee. So that's confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I can see few people saying they never give us a contract because most agencies are just taking off the 12%. So, yeah.
So when you accept a gig, you don't get any confirmation. What do you get as confirmation when you're booked for a gig?
Most of the time, and 9 times out of 10 in my own personal experience of the last 1,000 gigs I've done, it's just an email. There's no booking agreement. There's no actual contract. Even with the agencies, they don't make me sign anything. They send me like an email, you know, by accepting payments. I mean, obviously that's lawyer talk. We'll have to go. You're not a lawyer. You're obviously an accountant, but they do have the contracts that. But it's not signed. You don't sit down and negotiate terms and conditions and then both agree on it and then sign it. But majority of my venues and majority of my gigs is just an email saying, yep, you're locked in.
Okay, and when you initially sign up to the agency, is there some sort of agreement signed then where they discuss
again? In my own experience, I don't. They've got they've got a basic agreement that's there, but it's not like a sitting down, both signing off on the actual contract. If you guys have want to say if you have a booking agreement with your agency, just please let us know down in the comments because I'm interested to know how many people actually have agreements with their agency. For an accountant, justice all over the industry, not understanding how musicians compete with the lacking. So, yeah, look, everyone's going to have their own anxieties. Everyone's going to have their own things going on here. And look, this discussion is all about trying to work our way through from a musician's perspective. I've been seeing more than once
I don't have
people
any
absorbing it.
agencies that are clients.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
and I
Back
do
when I was
declare.
booking bands, I sent out booking agreements. Actual
Yeah.
booking
Someone said
agreements.
no agreement.
Yeah.
Look, I just want to say something here to the weight loss muso. I'm assuming here that this is probably someone I know he's very passionate about this topic. I just want to say this whole webinar is more about the musician's perspective and how that is. It's not going to put agencies, because Josie doesn't work with a lot of agencies, works with musicians and venues. So that's what this is part is about. You'll probably have to seek different advice for agency agreements, because that's a whole different topic and a different conversation completely. We're just trying to understand venues and musicians. And so I'm going to put this on here. But you are selling. I'm not. Yeah. Look again. There's no. So we're just trying to work through this thing here, man. Look, what's your thoughts? I'll share. I'll share exactly what we came up with anyway. But before I do, someone said, "What's your thoughts on the agents that think we are a service and results based contract and not an employee? We're delivering a performance outcome with full creative control."
Yeah, so that's one of the four. I guess it's hard because let's say with that particular scenario, if you deliver a performance and it doesn't meet expectations, can they choose not to pay you? Or will the musician still get paid? Or the band? So I'd say that would probably clarify whether they meet that particular circumstance.
Yeah.
So
And
would the band be liable or the performance be liable to recoup costs? So could if the venue withholds payment, does that ever happen?
where the venue withholds payment?
Yeah, if they're not happy with the performance.
Not in my experience. I mean, they still honour the payment. They still, if you do the performance, and that's going
Yeah.
to be up to the both of you. Yeah, I'd imagine
Yeah, it's
paid and
different
not
from
rebooked.
a trade, where they're paid to produce a specific outcome. So they're building something, and if it's not up to standards, then it's up to them to fix it. So I guess you would look at, it's hard to say, well, the performance wasn't up to standards and you owe us another performance type thing. I don't think that would happen very often, if
Yeah,
not
I
ever.
don't think so. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it is. Yeah, I thought it was you, Greg. Hey, Greg. Obviously, Greg's got a question here. In our video, we said that the musician isn't at risk, but we are if we lead a band. So let's
Okay.
talk about bands. So in regards to bands, who's responsible in that scenario?
So it depends how they're structured. If they're structured as a company or a trust or a partnership, then that's fine because there wouldn't be any super payable by whoever's booking them because they're a company, they're a trust, or they're a partnership. So they're not paying a specific individual. If you're a band and there's one person in the band with an ABN invoicing the venue, then again, you would look at those four different circumstances. The band play there regularly. Then that's a really difficult one because I've had this come up with a client before. The venue would pay the super on top of the sole traders who's invoicing. That's typically how it would work. But what happens is the venue has to pay it, or whoever's booking has to pay it directly into the super fund. So there's a problem there because the person that's doing the invoicing, as the sole trader, is the whole 12% is going to go into their super fund. You can't take that out of the super fund. So they're going to be short. So they might be liable depending on the arrangement with the other band members. Are they session musicians? You'd have, again, look at the arrangement with the band and see whether the other band members would be considered employees to that sole trader. So what's the arrangements there? Yeah. But so my advice, if you're a band, would be to create even just simple would be a partnership, because it's quite easy to create a partnership. You can do it yourself. Just get an ABN for a partnership. Trust in a company, you'd have to set up either through someone that sets up companies or trusts. So that's more expensive to do.
Yeah.
But a partnership
And this is,
you can set up yourself if you're looking for cost-effective ways.
well, this is so let's, this is the thing is, of course, that's why it's such a big, huge grey area, and it's stressing everyone out. Because I agree, I understand what you're saying here, and look, I want to actually pivot this right now and speak a little bit about what we've done as VemYou. And again, guys, anything that I'm telling you with VemYou and what we do and how it all works, and I'm just going to keep you here, Josie, because just so we can discuss these things here. You can do everything on your own. It'll just take you longer time. Like, look, anything with VemYou is just me as a musician trying to create a solution for myself. So it's completely up to you what you want to do. But if I can share with you all what we've created, taking what Josie said, taking what the ATO said, and trying to figure out the best way to become compliant, amazing. I'm going to be using the solution myself anyhow. But what I wanted to share with you are, so first things first, just to give you a bit of and if you have any other questions, please have the questions down there, and we can come back and do it a little bit more before we close this off. But just to explain to you, so VemYou and to everyone out listening, it's a platform that connects venues, musicians, and fans in one place. It's like a vertical, does all the booking, does all of the invoicing, all of that sort of stuff. And what our solution is from talking with Josie, there's a couple of things that I've understood pretty clearly. One is the itemization of the invoice. And like you said in the comments, this is a big stress to itemize every single invoice. So the way that we've designed our system is when you get a Vem link, which is like a link tree for musicians. This is the way that you can send it to a booker. And it has a digital contract and a digital agreement there that talks about all the superannuation. But there's a couple of things here. One thing is that it itemizes the invoice automatically, using the advice from the ATO on how things should look. And it lowers your performance fee. I personally think that your performance fee, I don't charge $450 or $350 or whatever you get paid to just come and show. Like I spend money on driving there, on all of the equipment, on all of these sort of things. And that's the way we've come up with that first solution, which is to itemize the invoice all automatically. And then it shows the performance fee, and then it calculates the superannuation. Now, the venue should then take that superannuation and actually pay it on top of your fee. But instead of you paying 12% on the whole $450, you're going to pay it on a smaller chunk. It's just trying to find a middle ground, From your perspective, Josie, like, what does that sound like from an accountant's perspective?
Do you mean for
like
both
having the
venues?
itemization? Yeah.
Yeah, it's your personal preference. So if that's what you can design it how you like it. If you want, if you want more money in the hand, then you can create the invoice how you would like it. So you want to charge for travel, you can charge more for travel, you can charge kilometre rate, and then you can work out what you actually want your performance fee to be and how much super will be paid on top of that.
And so that's a solution.
To me, it sounds like a good solution for both venues and the musician, because you've got the venues having to not all of a sudden, but now they're really focusing on venues paying super. So that's another 12% on top what they have to pay out. So if you can reduce that for the venues, it's a win for them as well.
Yeah. And you still get your super on your labour, which makes sense.
You can decide what amount you want the super paid on.
Yeah. And then so we have a band solution as well, which is that in your Vem link, which is your profile, you can attach certain individual members. And when someone books you through the single Vem link, what'll happen is that the system will send one email with all the invoices itemized, but only one payment link. And then when they pay that one single payment link, it divides it. So that way you're essentially booking 5 sole traders instead of one band leader.
Yeah, that's a way around it if you don't want to become a partnership or a company or a trust. You'd have to supply an invoice from each band member to the venue.
Yeah. Which is that, and it's going to be a mess to send 5.
Went to each band member if they're not set up as a company or a trust. So, yeah, that's the only way around it, because they should be paying the super into the super fund, not to the person to put into their super fund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, these are just some of the solutions that we have. If you're a musician out there, we make this all free for musicians, and, so that way you can just use it as a booking link if you wanted to do that. We obviously onboard venues quite a lot. Our aim here is to try and just create a better connection between the venues and musicians. So just on that, but I don't want to be here to talk too much about VemYou. I was just wanting to share you guys, everyone out there listening, on what is one solution that we've built, and you can go and do what you feel on your own. You're your own musician. You've got to do what's best for you. So again, but anyway, let's get back to these questions here. Because I'd like to get through. I don't want to hold you on here too long. I know you've had a big day probably, so I won't hold you up here too long. But someone's asked, James Scott, can we get clarity around what date all these super changes are in effect? I've heard 1st of July 20. Sorry,
it's in effect now. It's already in effect. Yeah.
So was that from the 1st of July 2025?
For this. I think it's before then.
Oh,
this whole employee is a contractor, an employee for super purposes has been around for years. It's just that they're all of a sudden started really focusing on personal trainers at gyms and musicians. So there's just been a focus on that within the last year, but it's been around for years. So it's something that employers have always had to be careful about. So if you're just hiring someone, they're invoicing you, but you're setting their hours, you're paying them an hourly rate, that the ATO would be looking at that as more of an employee relationship. So it's been around for ages. It's just that now they're really focusing in on musicians and personal trainers, the fitness industry as well.
Yeah, so
I've had a client that's had to back pay. This is in the fitness industry, but I've had a client that's had to back pay super to its contractors for the last year, the 24 financial year, and this financial year. So
that's again, big.
Yeah. So I guess that's the risk to the venue, that they may have to back pay from whenever they started hiring the musician.
Yeah. And whether or not you have the answer to this question here, but if for example, a venue contracts an agency passes on the superannuation to the musician, doesn't pay it on the top, who is the last in line to be having a back pay? Will it be the agents, or will they just pass it on to the venues? I don't know if you'll have the answer.
I was asking before, like, it's without seeing what the agents on invoicing the venue, it's hard to say. So is the agent, when they're invoicing for the musician, it's the agent that bills the venue, is part of that, without having a look at what their invoice, what they're supplying to the venue, it's hard to say who's responsible for the super. If the agent, but then, so what would happen then is that the venue would pay the agent the super portion and the fee. It would be up to the agent to put it into the super fund, if that's who's got the details of the musician.
Yeah. And there's another question here. We'll have another questions for another 5 minutes, everyone, and then we can't obviously be here too long. So someone's asked, so is the agent meant to pay into our super?
Yes, if it's the agent that's got all your details and then in billing the menu for the super. Yeah. If the relationship is with the venue is just with the agent and the agent has the relationship with the musician, then I would say it's the agent who's responsible for putting it into the super funds.
Yeah.
And are the
Yeah.
agencies collecting your super details
Look,
when you
they
sign up?
have there's a no, I haven't had an agent specifically ask me, but the platforms they use, like Surreal and Hot Giggity and these other platforms, they ask for your super
They do.
details.
Okay.
But the
Yeah.
agents haven't specifically asked directly for me. No.
Okay. So what's the platform? Is that an agency? Hot Giggity?
Hot Giggity is a platform that sort of they connect venues, musicians to agents. Same with
Okay.
Surreal connects venues, musicians to agents.
Yeah.
And they've again, like, that's more those three. Yeah. So I think that's something that they've organised between those specific relationships. But yeah, essentially that's what they do. They do all of the booking and everything, but directly between venues, musicians, and agents more than anything else. And then we'll just a few more questions here. We'll go through here. So, okay, we've done that one there. I have that obligation. Okay, I don't know where. Venues aren't paying. Okay, I have that obligation because they're an employee of mine only in the eyes of the performance. I'm not sure. I must be missing a piece of that comment. And then we have no idea what they are invoicing. If we hire you, Josie, to do our tax, would you contact our agent?
Yeah. What to ask them how it all works? Or are you asking me, would I contact them on your behalf?
Um,
Or would I
uh,
contact them generally when I'm doing your tax return?
you can answer that, Alexis. And then I'll see when they answer that. And then one agent has asked us for super info.
Okay.
Then someone said, "Who's the agent, James?"
Yeah.
We are invoicing them individually for each gig, and they're paying the super on top of our super funds directly.
That's great. That's what should
That's
be happening. Yeah.
that's how it should be. We are invoicing directly. Okay, yeah, that sounds like a great plan. Who's that agent, James?
Yeah.
Would love to know. That's good, and that's what we want. We want to make sure that this superannuation is taken care of, which is the outcome of this. The outcome of all of this. If you wanted to say that, Alexis, on how what for what reason would you want Josie to contact the agency? Is it just to see what the deal is, or to understand it? Basically, would you contact the agent to ask if they are covering our super, or if we have to do it?
Well, you would be the first point of call. Accountants don't generally do that when you come to do a tax return. What you would, if you were worried about it and you'd already contacted them, I could definitely do it on your behalf. So if you came to me and said, "I don't think I'm being paid my super," there's no problems with me drafting something up to
Sure,
further investigate.
that's good.
But
So,
I wouldn't know off the top of I don't do that, unless, someone asks or someone comes and is worried their super isn't being paid. Because when someone comes and it's an employee, it's definitely an employer, and they don't think that their super fund has advised that there's been no super, they would go to the employer first, and then if they're still not getting anywhere with the employer, then you would have to report it to the ATO. That's the next step.
Natalie, I'm trying to read all of the questions for sure, but obviously a lot of them are coming in at different times, so I can't see all of the questions that do come through. But you're saying you aren't reading all the questions that are really confused with the variables that make it a grey area. So
Do you want me to go over them again?
let's go over them one more time.
Yeah. So what the ATO will look at, whether it's an employee relationship or a subcontractor, one is how regularly are you working for this person, doing a job for this person? Are they setting the hours? So they're telling you these are the times. Are they paying you an hourly rate, or is there a set fee that you charge for, your performance? Can you subcontract it out to somebody else? So that means, say you get booked to play at the pub and then you realize, I can't do it. I'll find someone else for them. So, and you're able to do that. You're able to subcontract it out to another subcontractor. And the other one is whether you're bringing your own equipment to do the job. Yeah. So, that's the one that I had to get clarification on, because most times musicians are bringing equipment to do the job. But the ATO don't look at, if you tick one of those boxes, they don't look at that. You need to, I guess it's the more boxes you tick in those specific areas, you'd be considered more of an employee. So they look at all those areas, not just one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's on the labour portion, not the overall
it's on
invoice.
Just the labour, yeah.
Just the labour. It's
most people will just invoice for that, won't they? They'd just be performance and then the amount. So some people may itemise their invoices, some just have a set fee. So
yeah,
some have an hourly rate. So that's a big one. Like if you're getting paid an hourly rate. So if the venue's saying this is the hourly rate we pay musicians, this is the times we want you to play. You can't find someone else to do the job if you can't do it, but you may be bringing your own equipment. You don't need, you tick 3 of the boxes to say you're more of an employee.
It has to be they're going to look at the overall relationship, because someone said, do all boxes need to be ticked for super to be
Not
applicable?
All, but no, they will look at the overall. That's why each different booking is its own, I guess, thing to look at.
Yeah. And the other thing is it pre or post GST?
So if you're registered,
you don't pay on GST.
No. Yeah. It'd be the net amount.
It'd be the net amount. And then I've had Greg here say, if you do a one-off gig for a Christmas party for a business, for example, they are liable for your super.
Are they?
Obviously, it's a statement by the looks of it. But if it's a one-off gig, like a private gig for a business,
again, you'd go through those 4 things.
Yeah. So everything's referring back to the relationship between you and the booker. And if it's one of those things, they're not going to look at it.
Bringing all your equipment, they may set the time that you play, but you'd probably find that you'd fit. It's just a one-off gig, and you're bringing all your own equipment. You have to produce, the performance. You may be able to subcontract it out to someone else if you can't play the show.
And so few key points here, everybody. So one, it's about the relationship. They're going to look at those 4 areas. If you tick most of those areas, then you are looking like you're an employee for superannuation purposes. Correct? Yeah. Secondly, it's on the labour portion. It's not on the overall fee. If you want to itemize your invoice to be breaking down your invoice, you can lower the superannuation obligation by the employee for superannuation purposes. Correct? It's net, so it's not on GST. If there's GST, it'll be calculated pre-GST, so on the net. And for bands, unless you're a company, if you're just a sole trader, it'll be all if you would. It's probably better to either individually invoice if you have 5 members, or 5 of you invoice.
Yep. Yeah. Sorry, my child is.
No.
Yes, it's if you're wanting to, if you want super to be paid to all the band members and you're under a sole trading arrangement, then the only way around it is to each band member to invoice their portion to the venue or the agency to make sure that all band members get paid super.
Yeah.
It's a different story if you're set up as a company and then your band members would be employees of the company. Usually that's how it works.
Yeah.
So then the company is responsible for their super. They're probably getting paid a wage from the company. Yeah.
Right.
If it's a
And
band.
then there's one more question here that I do want to answer. There's actually two more here. But with that, you're setting your own rates so you can add the super onto it, yes?
Yeah, if you set your own rate that you want in the hand, that's what I would be doing. If you're you set what you want in the hand, what your fee is, and then super would be paid on top of that.
Yeah. And so one tick the box equals yes for super add-in. That's the question. So one tick the box equals yes for super add-in. I don't think it's one ticked box. I think it's the overall relationship, Natalie. I don't think if it's just one ticked box, they're going to look
most of them will tick that equipment one. Most musicians or bands will tick that, but then so that would classify them as a contractor. But then they would look at how often are you playing at the venue? What's your relationship there? Is it a regular thing? Is it a regular occurrence? Are you paying there every week?
So, yeah.
Are they setting the times that you play?
Yeah. Look, there's obviously people are going to have a lot of questions in here, and
most ones that are going to fall under this an employee for super purposes. It's the regular performances that you're doing at pubs and clubs. It's not like your one-off where you're playing a show and you're setting the ticket price. It's not those sorts of things where you're setting the ticket price, what you're charging people to come in, and you're performing you're performing your originals. That's not where you're looking mostly at your regular gigging, your working musicians that are regularly playing pubs and clubs. Yeah.
Sure. And I just want to say something here while you're on here as well, Josie, because someone, obviously Greg spent a lot of time talking with the ATO and everything like this, and you spent some time, and one of the person you spoke to didn't even say correct information. Did I remember that right?
The second time. Yeah, look,
so
she's 16 years old, but that's why I rung a second time and I got a guy that was really, really good this time. So sometimes you can ring the ATO and not feel confident in their advice. So I rung the second time.
And so
I have the number.
I done some research around
the super.
Yeah.
The super line. Yeah.
I done some phone calls myself as well, and my question that I asked is who's enforced in the end of the day? Is it the person that you speak to at ATO, or is it the legislation? And everyone that I spoke to was saying it's always going to come to the legislation before what the advice is. So I just want to share that because I know you're going to get some advice and people are going to say it's great advice, but at the end of the day, the legislation will trump the advice from the ATO. Even if you have direct advice from the ATO, you've got to do your own. Yeah, it's going to be the legislation that's going to trump that. And look, I don't want to. I'm sorry, everybody. I know you got heaps of questions, and we can. I'm going to actually share. Let me just share. What's your email address again? info@accountmein.
Mm-hmm.
Just .com, yeah.
.au.
So I'm just going to
.com.au.
Yeah. So I've just shared Josie's email, info@accountmein.com.au. Because someone said, "Can you do my taxes, please, Josie?" And then other people were saying, "Can you?" So
look, I do.
Josie,
I do a free consult. I offer a free consult initially, and you can ask me anything. So I'm quite happy to answer questions in relation to tonight's webinar if someone wants, because you'll find that, like, I can already see it. Everyone's personal circumstances are different. So in any tax circumstances, people will have different arrangements or anything like that. So if you want more personalized, I guess, I can see already there's people set up different ways or booking different ways. So
Yeah, and look, my personal opinion on this is that it's all back to your agreement and your contract you have with the booker. And if you don't have one, you can request to put something in place.
Or ask them.
And just ask. And if you look, musician to musicians, if you do find there's complications, like, you can reach out for help. There's obviously a lot of support around this as well, and protect yourself, and just have a bit of an understanding of your own circumstance
and what you're happy to
get that
accept,
agreement in place.
I think
what you're happy to accept, because at the end of the day, it's up to you. We have our solution with what we're doing about automatic itemization. That all does that, all automated, and the band solution, everything. If you want to know more about what we're doing with VemYou, just reach out to me, and it's a very well done system. But again, it's musicians and venues.
I can see Natalie saying how regular is regular. So all regular. So at the one, it'd be how often are you playing at that venue, the same venue? Is it a regular thing? Have they booked you every week? Is it every Sunday you play there, or that type of regular? Like a pattern, I would say. Is it a regular pattern? Yeah.
Well, let's look at the definition of regular is something that happens consistently, repeatedly, or in a predictable pattern.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, that's the point, is that you got that grey area where people are going to be like, oh, it's regular once. That's all grey area. At the end of the day, there's common sense as well. If you play every, even once a month at a venue, that's regularly monthly.
Yeah, I would say the same. Yeah.
Someone said it can be a one-off gig. It can be a one-off gig. Sorry, that no longer matters. Yeah, we're talking about the overall relationship again, Greg. It's got to be looking at the overall relationship from what the ATO says, from what the actual, and you can look at the super for independent, and you've got to make sure when you do go on the ATO. I've noticed that there's an ATO general information, then there's an ATO super for creatives. So that's actually got the whole different information than the other one, than the main one, But look, I don't want to hold you up too much longer, Josie. You've got a family to get to. I'm very grateful and appreciative for you taking a couple of hours out of your night. And I just hope that this brings some clarity to people out there. And, probably it's clear as mud, as we've been saying.
Yeah, look, and then people will have their own individual circumstances too. So it's the same with tax in general.
Yeah.
There's no one size fits all. You really got to look at each individual. So each individual setup, each individual contract.
Yeah, exactly. So, is any parting advice for anyone out there from you, Josie?
If you're not sure and you're going through an agency, there's no harm in just asking them what's the arrangement with super. If you're being booked regularly by this agent at regular venues, and if they're not talking about super, there's no harm in asking them about it and whether they pay it and the fine print.
Yeah, and I want to say to everyone as well, we did actually reach out to the ATO to actually get someone on, and they just they said, yeah, we would love to, but they didn't. I don't even think they have the answers, to be honest. I think they just sort of rushed us through. So yeah, look, you've got to go and do your own research, everyone. We just wanted to come and have a discussion right here, streaming online, so everyone can have their input. And I wouldn't mind actually doing this regularly, not just with you, Josie. Of course, I'm not going to ask you to come in, but maybe we can get you back in the next couple of weeks if anything else comes up. But I'd like to keep this going. If everyone else, just let me know. You can send me an email or a message, info@vemyou.com, or just direct message me if you haven't got me. and yeah, maybe we can just have a little musician catch up and just talk about this stuff and have an open discussion, because at the end of the day, it's us musicians, we're the ones that have to set the precedents ourselves.
Yeah, I can see a question there from James too about the band. I'd need to know, James, what sort of structure is set up. I haven't read all the comments, but just email me if you like. We can talk about it.
Yeah. info@accountmein.com.au. Josie's there ready for you all. Please reach out. I know many people who have worked with Josie, including myself, and Josie's been very good to work with. So please reach out to Josie.
Thanks, Drew.
Amazing. Thank you, Josie. Appreciate it. Thanks,
Good
everyone.
luck, everyone. Good luck.
Good luck. Good luck, all right.
Yeah.
May the force be with you all.
Yeah.